This podcast is recorded at the KHRG station. To learn more about the programs that KHRG offers, you can visit us at khrg.com or greenriver.edu. This is UNFALSIFIABLE. Incident 1. The truth is out there. Hey guys, this is Ren and
Caroline.
And we are Unfalsifiable. We are a horror podcast for all things that go bump in the night.
Tonight's incident will be about the X-Files, as well as other spooky stories and stuff.
So, to kick things off, we are going to have a spooky story written by yours truly called Taps. Recently, I stumbled across an old journal of my dad's, and I really need to talk about what I found in there. I'm a bit freaked out, to be honest, but when I started reading it, I just couldn't stop. To give a little backstory, I'm a 19-year-old female college student. I currently live in the dorms at school, but my mom lives about a 45-minute drive away, so I still try to see her as much as possible. Ever since my dad left about 8 years ago, she's really needed me there. And moving any farther away would have broken her heart all over again, I think. Not to mention she's always there when I need her. I tell her practically everything. But this I can't bring myself to tell her about. I found the journal when I was staying over for a weekend. It was Saturday morning, and I was helping my mom sort through her attic, looking for her long-lost sewing machine. Amongst all the boxes of old baseball cards and family photos, I eventually stumbled across a moleskin notebook. My dad loved to write fantasy books, and I remember him always having some kind of notebook with him, in case he thought of an idea and needed to jot it down. Assuming that's what I held in my hand, I opened to the first page that read something like, "This part confused me. 2007. I had no idea that my dad had anxiety, let alone that he was actually seeing a therapist for it. He always seemed like the calm, collected type. Maybe a bit weird at times, but besides that, he was just like every other dad." I read on. Day after day, that was the same thing. Hated his job, loved his wife and daughter, and that the journal was a stupid idea. Eventually, in mid-June, the entry stopped. I flipped ahead a couple pages until I found the next entry that was all the way in July. This was the first that seemed, for lack of a better word, weird. July 28th, 2007. Dear Journal, I heard the tapping on my window again last night. Every time I'd open my eyes and look out the window, nothing was there. I just laid awake all night listening to the taps. This must be why the therapist wanted me to write this stuff down. I feel a bit better, like a weight's off my chest. Maybe it'll stop now. This entry was the first of many that told the story that unfolded before my father left. These are the ones that follow. August 13th, 2007. Dear Journal, the tapping continues. I've started to notice more and more weird things happening since that night of a couple weeks ago. Things in the house will go missing, but as soon as I ask or bring up that they're gone, they will reappear where they should have been in the first place. August 28th, 2007. Today I was going to call a friend of mine to see if they wanted to get a beer and catch up. But when I picked up the phone, I could hear the sound of breathing on the line. I told my daughter to get off the phone, and that she knows better than to play with the home phone. I heard her reply, "Okay, Dad," and the beep from her hanging up on the other phone. I called my friend as planned and then went to lecture Sam a bit more about not playing with the phone. When I realized that she was at school, it would have been her second day there. I searched the whole house for any sign of trespassers in a panic, but all doors and windows were locked, and I couldn't find a single soul. September 10th, 2007. It's getting worse. I didn't know what else to do but to write this down. I need to clear my head. My ex-therapist would be so proud to see me doing this now. I was woken up because I heard what sounded like people talking. I looked at the clock to see it was around 3 a.m. and then looked over to see Lacey asleep. I figured it must have been my daughter watching TV then, so I got up to tell her to go back to sleep. But as soon as I opened the door, the voices stopped, and the house was pitch black. For some reason, I felt my heart going a mile an hour in my chest as I tried to rationalize that I was still half asleep. I swallowed the lump forming in my throat and flipped on the hall light and made my way to Sam's room. I quietly opened the door, and I could see her sound asleep in her bed with the little nightlight she had. Figuring it must have just been me imagining things in my half-asleep state, I shook my head at my silliness and slowly closed the door. I was in the pitch-black hallway again, confused because I swore I turned on the hallway light. I felt for the switch, and when I turned it on, I was in my bedroom and the sun was beginning to shine through the curtains. My heart sank to see my wife not in our bed. I bolted through the door and swung it open and ran to the kitchen in a panic. I turned the corner to see my daughter and wife eating breakfast together and looking over to me with a confused look on their faces. I froze, unsure of what to say until my eyes wandered to the clock on the wall. It was 8:02 a.m. I had somehow lost 5 hours. I laughed off my panic to my family and headed back to my room. I don't know what just happened. A weird dream, maybe. I can't tell my wife. I just hope it doesn't happen again. September 15th, 2007. I noticed a man in a black suit following me today while I was out running errands. I swear I saw him everywhere I went. Just fucking standing there staring at me. And even though I stared right back, now I can't remember what his face looked like. September 20th, 2007. I see the man everywhere now. Everywhere I go, he is just there. I don't know why he's doing it or how he's doing it. But why can't I remember his face? September 29th, 2007. The last straw came today. I saw that asshole at my daughter's school while I was waiting to pick her up. I got out of the car and stormed after him, not caring about what happens to me. But you cross the line when you mess with my kid. As I got closer, he turned away from me and started walking away. And by the time I got to where he should have been, he was gone. I walked to the school and took Sam home early, not caring that the other parents looked at me as if I was nuts. I just glanced out the window of the kitchen, and I swear I saw the guy across the street just staring at me. This time I couldn't bring myself to go chase after him. Something told me not to. October 29th, 2007. It has been a month since my last entry. The strange things started up again, but I choose to ignore them. They aren't there. It's just a figment of my imagination. It's just a stress, I keep telling myself. I went back to the therapist. I'm on new medications now, too. I take them and it helps me ignore it all. I know now not to look at it in the face. My wife doesn't talk to me much anymore. November 1st, 2007. I saw it in my house. I swear I saw it. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. Ignore it. It's not there. November 3rd, 2007. My wife is on a business trip, and I heard my daughter talking to someone today. I swear I heard her speak in her small, soft voice. She called them Mister. I can't ignore it anymore. I have to stop it. I can't have her. November 4th, 2007. I asked her yesterday who she was talking to. She looked confused and said to stop being silly. God, why is this happening? Is this a test? Is any of this even real? November 4th, 2007. I tried asking her yesterday who she was talking to. She looked confused and said to stop being silly. God, why is this happening? Is this a test? Is any of this even real? I just smiled and laughed and told her I was sorry and that she can go off and play now. And I just cried. November 5th, 2007. This morning my daughter complained that someone was tapping on her window last night. It's real. This must be confirmation. I told her it was just her imagination, trying to keep the panic in my voice to a minimum. November 6th, 2007. That's not my daughter. That's not my little girl. I looked her in the eyes and saw that face that's been following me. When I think back, I can't remember having a daughter. Did I? I can't tell. All I know is that thing in that room is not mine. I have to leave, get away, find someplace safe. I hear the tapping. It just won't stop. And that's the last of the entries. You may be wondering why I'm sharing these when clearly it makes me out to be some type of creature myself, or it's just the ramblings of my father as he goes insane and leaves us behind. I honestly just don't know anymore. All I do know is I've started hearing them again. The taps. I hope you enjoyed my story. If you're a big fan of creepypasta as much as I am, go ahead and send your own creations to us at unfalsifiablepodcast@gmail.com. Up next, we're going to have a little bit of a break, and we'll be right back before you know it.
I just wanna believe. I just wanna believe.
And that was brand new, Just Wanting to Believe, with their song Okay, I Believe You, But My Tommy Gun Don't. If you like this kind of music, you should totally check out KJRD 89.9 FM. We also have an app. It's on the Android and Apple Store, and it's also how we get to record this awesome podcast. So definitely check it out. That's KJRG. You can also check us out at kjrg.com.
The X-Files is one of the longest running sci-fi series, starting in 1993 and has been off and on ever since. It features FBI agents conspiracist Fox Mulder, played by David Duchovny, and skeptic Dana Scully, played by Gillian Anderson, as they search for the truth behind supernatural occurrences.
Today we're going to talk about some memorable episodes and our favorite moments, as well as the new series.
The truth is out there.
So let's start off with talking about our favorite TV episodes. What are yours, Caroline?
Well, mine would have to be Ice, which is Ice, baby.
That's also one of my favorites. Yeah, that's exactly what it's about.
Oh no, David Bowie's he's gonna sue me from his grave.
From the grave. Well, that's extra spooky. Perfect for this podcast. Am I right, ladies?
Okay, anyways, in the episode, Mulder and Scully have to go to Alaska because these people working on like the ice core get
trapped or something like
no,
that.
they kill them. They kill each other.
Oh yeah.
And they have to like investigate it. They think it's just like a murder, and then they find out that there's like this parasite that like is infecting them, and
I don't want you to reveal too much here.
and anyways, yeah. So I don't know. I thought it was a good episode because it really strengthened.
Yeah, that's the word.
The relationship between Mulder and Scully.
I agree. That was a really, really good episode. I remember watching it and being like, this could be its own movie, because like the whole plot line was just really good. It's a really good standalone episode in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot
I agree.
of our favorite episodes are standalone episodes. Not saying the overall plot to X-Files is bad, but the X-Files in itself is very episodic. So
I agree. What about you? What are some of your favorites?
My personal favorite is probably the Jersey Devil.
Yes, the Jersey Devil is a pretty good one.
Oh my gosh, like it's just so borderline ridiculous the entire time.
Yeah.
And the drawing, which we'll tweet out, by the way, it's hilarious, honestly.
Yeah. I feel like most of like what we talk about is Jersey Devil drawing.
Oh my gosh, the Jersey Devil drawing, it's just like Mulder is an artiste. All right, let's just leave it at that.
That should be in the Vatican.
Honestly,
Is that what it's called? The Vatican?
Is it? No, I don't think so. You mean like the archives, like the archives of the U.S.?
Where is like the Mona Lisa?
Oh, it's not the Vatican.
What the hell is the Vatican?
It's like
I don't know my European
the Vatican's the church, dude.
Okay, that's what I thought. But like,
no, it's like the Mona Lisa. It's just
it should be in a
museum. Oh, on the ceiling of the Vatican, like the what is it? Who's the one that like
I think it's
like with all the weird man babies and stuff like that?
Michelangelo or someone like that.
Paint to the ceiling. I'm so sorry if we're offending all the historians out there. My bad. Actually, it's Caroline's bad. The Vatican. Okay. Anyways. So yeah, but I think like we can both agree that one of the best episodes is the pilot.
I guess you can agree on that. No, I'm just kidding.
Shut up, Caroline.
I'm just kidding. I like the pilot too. I like that one a lot.
It's just like, okay, it's such a good way to introduce people to the show. It does like start out kind of slow, but by the halfway point, it's like, what is this? Like, I remember watching it. Like, I remember before I started watching the X-Files, I was like, oh, what's the big deal? Like, whatever. Like, I'd seen like Twin Peaks before it, and I was like, oh, Twin Peaks is super cool. Yeah. And then I was like, what's so good about the X-Files? Kind of like how you were. Yes. And then I watched the first episode. I was like, that's what's so good about the X-Files. This is really good. But yeah. So, in your opinion, or I guess it's our opinion because we both kind of agree on this, what are the scariest episodes of the X-Files?
Well, you can go first.
I guess I'll go first then. We are so professional.
And then we can both discuss the one that I think that I like. Yeah. That I think's the scariest.
Okay, well, I think the scariest one is Home, because it's so out of like what the X-Files normally does. Like, it's so out of character that it's just really shocking from the first like scene and stuff like that. Like, I don't want to tell anything about it because it's just something you need to experience for yourself. So, you know, and by the way, if you'd like to watch The X-Files in its entirety, it is on Netflix.
It is on Netflix, and it's on Fox.
Yeah, the new series
is on Fox. I don't know where you can find the movies. I'm sure like there's some illegal place that you can find them. But you probably shouldn't do that since it's illegal, and the FBI might get on you.
We don't. Oh yeah, the X-Files themselves are like, yo, we heard you listen.
David Duchovny will find out.
Yeah, he'll hunt you down.
He'll like come with a little badge.
He'll be like
federal agent.
And it's like him in his boxers. This turned to like a weird like porn real fast. Ooh.
Okay.
Anyways,
moving on. The episode that I think is scariest would also be my favorite. Ice. Ice, baby. Bum,
yeah.
bum, 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 ba-da-da-da.
Why do you think Ice is the scariest episode?
I think because that was like the first episode where like Mulder and Scully kind of like turn on each other almost, but they're not like, they don't really realize that they're doing it. It's like they have like cabin fever or something like that, you know? And so I don't know, they're like, their friendship was like being tested and stuff, and
they made it through.
Yes.
Second day
they passed.
BFFs for life.
But yeah, and I don't know, so I think that's probably why.
I definitely agree with you. Ice is such, again, like Home was, it's such a standalone episode, and it's scary. It scared me for sure. I think Ice and Home, they're very similar. I think they both deal kind of isolated incidents, and they both kind of deal with people being trapped and stuff like that too. And yeah, so those are the scariest episodes. So if you're getting into the X-Files and you just want to like get a quick scare in, definitely check out Ice or Home. Again, they're on Netflix.
Yes.
Or, you know,
season
whatever.
Season 1 and Season 4.
Yes. So check those out.
How about now we talk about why we love the X-Files?
Oh my goodness.
Like, what got you into it? How did you stick through all the way?
Yeah. I have actually seen all of the X-Files. I got Caroline into the X-Files, and I've been watching the X-Files for the past like couple years. I got into it about maybe like 2 years ago. I actually have an X-Files tattoo. How many times are we going to say X-Files? Or I'm going to say X-Files. X-Files.
X-Files.
You know when you say it like a word so much that it starts to lose meaning? That's me right now. But anyways, I love the X-Files because it asks the question, like, should I believe? Do I want to believe? Like, honestly, and it talks about just really interesting monsters and creatures and supernatural stuff while also dealing with real people, I think. And it's just really interesting. And I love Scully. Like, she's one of my role models, I think. I dyed my hair red because of her. like I wanted
You're such a poser. Mine came naturally.
But yeah, I really like their dynamic, Scully and Mulder, like their relationship goals, honestly. And there's just so much. It's almost hard to talk about like why I love it. I just love it so much. It's such an integral part of like who I am as a person, and I honestly think it got me into horror and got me into
like mysteries and stuff like that. Yeah.
I mean, I was into it somewhat before, but not nearly as much until I started watching the X-Files.
So can I ask you a real quick side question?
Yeah, totally.
Did you ever watch like Scooby-Doo when you were a kid?
Oh, all the time. I love Scooby-Doo.
So you were actually interested in mysteries.
Only Mystery Inc. mysteries, okay? And Nancy Drew, she's my bitch.
Yes.
Excuse my French. Pardon. But yeah, so Caroline, why do you like the X-Files so much? You were such a big Twin Peaks fanatic.
Right. Okay, so yeah, I was like really into Twin Peaks and was like, you know, as a Washingtonian, I feel like it's my responsibility to watch Twin Peaks since it takes place in Washington.
Totally.
And then I found out that like on Tumblr or something, there's like this big like war between Twin Peaks and the X-Files, and so I was just like, oh no, I am standing with Twin Peaks. And then I was like, okay, you know what, no, let's see what the X-Files is up to. And I don't know, like Ren said, like the first episode really gets you into it, like sucks you in, and I just started watching it and couldn't stop. And I think for me it's definitely Mulder is like pulling me in. And it's weird because it's like when I was watching it, I would notice things because he was in Twin Peaks too, and so I'd like notice things that he would do in Twin Peaks even though he was a woman in Twin Peaks, and I'd be like, oh, like it's like back to my roots, you know.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, and I don't know, I do like their dynamics, and like I don't know, it's good.
It's a great. It's really well written. You can see evidence of X-Files like in other things now today. Yeah. I mean, besides obviously the new series that's out, the new season, I should say. But you can definitely see the effects that the X-Files had on TV in the future.
Yeah. I know. Sorry, I know an example.
Ooh, tell me.
Like, okay, I'm embarrassed by this.
Tell me.
But maybe not. I've watched like one episode of that TV show called Supernatural.
I love Supernatural. Oh my gosh, no, stop.
But like
I used to love Supernatural. It's kind of gotten meh in the past couple of years, but the first season was 10 out of 10.
But yeah, like in the first episode, they like try finding some like ghosts or something, and like these cops come, and like I think it's like the older brother's like, okay, listen here, Scully and Mulder.
I remember that. I know what you're talking about now. You're like, oh my god.
No, I didn't even. That was before I watched the X-Files, but I knew who Scully and Mulder were.
Like, that's a big thing
but
to
I
say.
didn't know. I actually didn't know who was Scully and who was Mulder. Like, I didn't know because it was just like Scully and Mulder.
They're neutral names. And now you're like,
who's who?
Now you're like, I know them by heart.
But middle names included.
Yeah. Can I just say that back to what you're saying, how like David Duchovny really sucks you in there.
Oh yeah.
I remember after you started watching it, you would Snapchat me like every day with something about him. We like would post like tons of pictures of him being like, if you Google David Duchovny like X-Files or something like that, you will find a treasure trove. I can't.
A treasure chest.
Oh, it certainly is a chest of pictures of him just being the most ridiculous 90s man hunk, whatever.
Yes, it's true.
But anyways, that is why we love the X-Files. You should totally check out the X-Files if you haven't already seen it. If you have seen it, let us know what your favorite episodes are. What you think is the scariest episode. Do you agree with us? And yeah, just let us know. You can tweet us, and we'll have all the links and stuff like that in the description or wherever it's going to be, depending on where you're listening to it on. Okay. We have one last thing to say.
We want to believe.
Next up, we have a true story from Caroline about a pilot that saw UFOs on Mount Rainier. And for all you skeptics out there, we have a whole bunch of scientific facts for you. Take it away, Caroline.
As students of saucerology know, private pilot Kenneth Arnold famously saw 9 flying saucers in an echelon pattern over the Cascade Mountains in the vicinity of Mount Rainier on June 24, 1947. Arnold's UFOs have been variously interpreted: airplanes flying in formation, a flock of American white pelicans, balloons, even droplets of water on his airplane's windshield. This phenomenon, as shown in photographs, gives the appearance of hovering, saucer-shaped craft. Due to the conditions that produce a mirage, it is the mountaintops themselves that appear in artificial suspension above the landscape. Given the clear skies and smooth air in which Arnold saw the flying saucers, together with the angle of the sun, all that was needed was a temperature inversion to complete the formula. Normally, air becomes colder with the increase in altitude. Sometimes, however, the situation gets reversed. For example, the ground cooling rapidly at night can cool the air directly over it, and since the layer above that is naturally warmer, the result is a temperature inversion. This causes light rays that pass through the air to bend, with images thus becoming distorted, and, in the case of mountaintop mirages, also appearing displaced. Arnold's own statements about his sighting helped to bolster the case for just such mirages being responsible. He said the objects appeared to reflect sunlight, and that they even seemed like reflections. Indeed, the flashing they made in the sun reminded me of the reflection of a great mirror, he said, and they looked like they were rocking. The entire effect would have been enhanced by the position of the sun, its light reflecting off the upper surface of the mirages. He stated that, in addition, the saucer-like objects were flying very close to the mountaintops, seemingly swerved in and out of the high mountain peaks, and he came to conclude were a formation in the neighborhood of 5 miles long, a large squadron indeed. He saw them, he calculated, from two definite points, Mount Adams and Mount Rainier, as being 100 miles away, and he got as close to them as 23 miles. Mount Rainier was not directly part of the mirage, which was caused by other mountains in the Washington Cascade Range, but Arnold did describe the saucers as flying approximately south from Mount Baker in the direction of Mount Rainier. Therefore, we characterize the latter as, metaphorically, a magnet for UFOs. And now, it's time for the movie review of the week.
Today I'm going to be talking about The Boy. The Boy is a horror movie that came out earlier this year in January. I believe you can still see it in theaters. It's about a woman that goes to do a nanny gig, but when she gets there, the little boy is actually a doll. I know this movie sounds like a stereotypical, cliche horror movie, but it's really beautifully shot. It has decent pacing, and it absolutely subverts every expectation you're going to have for it. This movie was really fun to watch and will leave you truly horrified by the end. I give The Boy a solid 8 out of 10. While this movie isn't perfect, it certainly is worth going to see in theaters or buy when it comes out. So I highly suggest it. It's one of the better horror movies that I've seen this year, not like The Forest, which I give a -1 out of 10. But that's a story for a different day. So to finish off this podcast, we're going to do a little bit of trivia. X-Files trivia.
X-Files edition.
I'm sorry, I don't think I caught what kind of trivia that was.
It was X-Files.
X-Files? I'm not familiar. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Anyways, so, okay, I'll go first.
All right.
My first question for you, Caroline, is who was the actor that played the stoner teenager in season 1, episode 2?
Let me think about that. Seth Green.
Ding, 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 ding. That was a pretty easy one. Do you think like the beginning of the season or like the series, and it's like, yeah, Seth Green was probably one of the bigger stars. It's so cool that X-Files had so many people on that eventually became huge stars today.
Yeah, it's true. Jack Black was in one episode.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it was pretty lit.
Yeah, it was lit. Question for you, Ren. Who killed Fox Mulder's father?
Oh, is it Krychek? Krychek? Is that how you say it?
Alex Krychek. Ding 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 ding. That's the correct answer.
Well, I didn't get that from the dings. Anyways, okay, second question. Let me think here. I'm like blanking. I'm sorry. Oh, what's the name of Fox Mulder's sister that was abducted by aliens?
Her name was Samantha Ann Mulder.
Oh, she got the whole name. We're white. Oops. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Okay. Yeah, that is her name. She was abducted by aliens, like I said, and that's, spooky. Or supposedly by aliens.
Could have been by the government. My question for you is, which of the two, Scully or Mulder, directed episodes of the X-Files?
I'm gonna say, I know that David Duchovny did. I'm not sure if Gillian Anderson did, but
they both did.
Oh.
I tricked you.
Shut up!
That was such an ugly laugh.
Sick burn, dude. Okay, so this is gonna be a question that I don't know if you may not get the answer to this one. This one's a little bit underground. What's something that David Duchovny and I have in common?
You're both skeptics.
He's not a skeptic. He's
yes,
like,
he is. He's a skeptic.
Oh, you know what? You're right. But I am not a skeptic. I think something's out there. Don't know what. Actually, it's that we're both Jewish.
Oh.
And David Duchovny said that Fox Mulder is also most likely Jewish.
Also, Fox Mulder and David Duchovny, because David Duchovny is such a big Knicks fan, he made Mulder be a Knicks fan, like in the TV show.
Yeah. It's cool. It's like it shows how actors can really shape the character.
That was my second guess, was that you were a Knicks fan.
Haha. No, I'm just kidding. I'm neutral. So, last question.
Was David Duchovny also, did he also have a role in that involved some spooky phenomenon?
I was gonna say, like, I have a role in, like, I'm sure he has a lot of stuff. Let me just get his IMDb. Californication. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. I'm gonna have to say the only spooky thing I could think of is his role in Twin Peaks. I'd like to
That
think
was correct.
I'd like to thank the Academy.
And David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson for getting us to this place.
Papa Bless. Papa John's. Better ingredients. Better memes. Papa Bless.
Anyways, that's gonna wrap up the show.
What a great way to end it, am I right, ladies? With Papa blessing up. It was also National Pizza Day yesterday, so that works, I guess.
Yep.
Now you know what day we're recording this on, huh? Whoa, we broke the fourth wall. Just kidding. Anyways, okay. So this has been Unfalsifiable. You guys can check us out next week. I believe it'll be on Friday. If not Friday, then Saturday. And we'll be talking about Japanese horror. Thank you, Caroline. Yeah, and hopefully we'll be joined by our other co-host who couldn't make it this week, Mickey.
Mickey!
Oh, Mickey,
Hey, Mickey, you're so fun. How's the clap go? It's like...
I was gonna do it like, oh, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine, you blow my mind. Anyways,
clap for that.
yeah, there is, but we're keeping it, what is it?
We're keeping it real.
Yeah. Anyways, so thank you so much for listening. This has been Unfalsifiable. Make sure you tune in next week. This has been Ren.
And Caroline. Out.
Peace.